Meanwhile, Afriforum has joined the fight to have matric results published in newspapers. The organization's head of cultural affairs, Alana Bailey, joins us for more. Good evening, Alana. Thank you for joining us. Why are you joining as co-respondents of this case?
Initially, after the 2021 matric exams, a lot of learners approached us when the department announced that it wouldn't be publishing their results. So at that stage, we went to court, and the court issued an order in January 2022 to say that the matric results had to be published, but then only with the matriculation exam numbers and not with names attached to it, in order to protect the privacy of learners. And we were very happy with that. At that stage, it was already the tradition that only the numbers would be published. So after this court order was issued 2 years ago, nothing happened, and now in November this year, the information regulator suddenly approached the department and ordered once again that the results shouldn't be published. So now the department is caught up in a very unenviable position, because on the one hand, the court orders them to publish, and on the other hand, the information regulator orders them not to publish. So the department would have to go to court about this issue, and Afriforum will, if possible, join the fight as a co-respondent in order to ensure that the results will be published, but in this manner where the identity of the individual learners would be protected.
Yeah, so at the heart of this dispute, like you've already alluded to, is whether the Department of Basic Education's method of sharing these examination results is in alignment with the requirements of the POPI Act. And you're absolutely sure that these pupils will be well protected. What due diligence have you done as Afriforum to ensure that just the student number alone will not jeopardize the security or the privacy of the students?
We've been in touch with the legal team of the department throughout, and also with several of the publication houses who also have an interest in the matter, because they publish the results either on platforms, media platforms, or in print. And everybody assured us that definitely only the numbers will be published. And then in future, as an additional measure, the department also talks about asking the permission of learners or their parents when they register to write the exams, also to give permission that their results may be published or may not be published, which would bring in an additional safety measure. But unfortunately, that would be too late for the 2024 exams. That would be a measure that can be introduced next year.
Yeah, but what do you think your chances are going into this legal battle? I'll take you back to that January 2022 case that you collaborated with Morela Media, with that concerned matriculant who successfully challenged the DBE's attempt to stop the publication of the 2021 results. Do you draw any parallels with this case?
Definitely, because at that stage, the judge carefully examined all our arguments about numbers being sufficient, both on the site to make the information available to the matriculants, but also on the other hand, to protect the identity of learners. And the court was very satisfied that that would be adequate protection. So we are still maintaining that the court's mind wouldn't have changed in the meantime, and that the order that was issued at that time still has bearing on this case as well.
I have to ask you this, and this is the argument that has been posed by others who are just watching this case, it's of public interest, of course, that perhaps this legal posturing is better placed in improving the curriculum and maybe achieving better results, and that it's just really not necessary to have to take it to court.
As I say, a lot of our members and their children approached us because to them it's really very important. It's important on many levels. On the one hand, for some people, it's simply the most convenient or the only way in which they can quickly access the information that they need. On the other hand, it's a tradition that has quite great value for some learners. I've heard that some of them even frame that bit of newspaper on which their number is when they get the results. And then on the other hand, even in publications, whether online or in printed media, advertisers also publish information that is of great importance to learners when they get their results. So it's another way in which they get access to information that is of public interest that they wouldn't necessarily get if they only get their results from the school on the day that it is announced.
Yeah, so one of the requirements from the regulator was to say that the DBE needs to get permission from either the parents of each of the matriculants to publish these results. Do you see that as something that could have been feasible? I know you said you've been in contact with some matriculants and their parents who've really supported this cause that you are embarking on.
There have even been some schools that asked for such permission, but we couldn't establish whether that was on behalf of the department or on behalf of the school only, and whether that happened at all schools and in all provinces. So I think the Department of Basic Education can roll out a national plan to do that in future, to ensure that the people who feel very strongly about their information being protected can add this additional measure to make doubly sure that nobody can even guess what their results amounted to. But at the moment, that I think the notice was simply too short, and that is where we are really concerned about the position of the information regulator, who had 2 years to address this issue after the first court order was issued, but who waited until November this year to start with process to prohibit the publication.
And just a quick rundown of the court dates. I know matric results should be published, I think, on the 13th of January. There's about 2 weeks from now. What are you basing your arguments on, just very quickly, and when you expect it back in court?
The information regulator has approached the court on an urgent basis to prevent the publication of the results, and that case would be heard on the 7th of January, as far as I know. And that is where we applied to be allowed to be a co-respondent together with the Department of Basic Education. Afterwards, there would be also an appeal against the decision of the department, of the information regulator, but I don't have a date for that case yet, and there we would also be a co-respondent if the court allows us to be so.
Alana, thank you for your time this evening. We certainly appreciate it. That's Alana Bailey, Afriforum's Head of Cultural Affairs.